Kelly, feel free to start whenever, however you want to do this. I know we wanted to first go over just an overview of what the companies should expect, and then any information you think would be beneficial.
Okay, thanks, Brittany. So we're using Career Fair Plus as our platform for the virtual career fairs for all of our virtual career fairs, but particularly for this paper science one. And what will happen is right now it's all set up. We'll be collecting from you your names and email addresses of all of the recruiters that your company is going to want to have meeting with students and setting up a schedule. So what will happen is, and I can actually maybe share screen. Let's see, I have so many different things open, you'll get an email. Each of the recruiters will actually get an email from Career Fair Plus, and it will ask them to create an account. And so what they'll do is they'll actually, they'll create their account. It's just a little bit of information, just their name. And they can also add some information about themselves, like their LinkedIn profile or anything that they want. But knowing that whatever they add there, the candidates will be able to see. And so they'll want to be cognizant of that. And then they can modify their schedule any way that they want. So this event is set up from 3 to 8 o'clock. And so what it's going to do is it's going to automatically set a schedule where there'll be appointments or meeting times every 10 minutes from 3 to 8 o'clock. But anybody that is a recruiter from the company can modify their schedule in any way that they want to. So they can block out schedule times. They can, hold on, let me see if I can find can y'all see my screen? Mm-hmm. Can you guys see my screen? So it'll look like this. So this is me pretending to be an employer. So it will give them this type of screen, and then they can manage their schedule any way they want. So they can actually edit their schedule details. They can describe, as an employer, you can describe it any way you want. So if you have some of your recruiters that are maybe going to want to recruit just for internship positions, or maybe they want for like a leadership development program, or you want to keep it real general, like just looking for amazing candidates, you can write whatever you want in here in this description, each recruiter. And then you can also schedule, you can change the name of the schedule. It could just be something like, you know, looking for full-time positions or something like that. And what you'll need to, why you want to do this is because when the students are in the platform looking for who they want to make meeting appointments with, this is what they're going to see. So the schedule name and the description. So you want to be as specific or as general as you want to be as a company or as a recruiter to that. And you want to make sure you save any changes. The other thing that you can do is you can edit time slots. So like I said, it's going to give you automatically, it's going to give you the event from 3 o'clock until 8 o'clock in 10-minute increments, but you can block and unblock any of the times that you want. This right here shows that me, again, I'm pretending to be a student and a recruiter at the same time, but this indicates that a student has booked this appointment with me. So once a student books an appointment with you, you can't block that. And so you're going to get this email, and we're going to give you about a week to make sure that all of the recruiters can decide, you know, how they want their schedule to look before we start letting students make appointments with you. So this is, like I said, what it will look like, and just make sure that if you make any changes, you save them. So that's kind of what to expect the day or before the event. The day of the event, you're going to log back into this portal, and you can either use an app off of a phone or an iPad or you know, any kind of device, or you can use your desktop or your laptop, which is what employers, you know, tend to prefer to do, is use their laptop. But you're going to click this here, join meeting. If I click it, it's not going to let me join because my camera is being used with you. But if my camera was free and I wasn't on a Zoom meeting, my face would show up here so that you could test it out and make sure that everything looks good. You like your background, whatever, you know, it is you're using, and then you're going to join the meeting. And then this is going to be the same thing that the students are going to use on their side in order to join the meeting with you. So it'll look a lot like Zoom in the platform, where you both will have a video-based, integrated video-based, let me see what it says if it lets me. Again, it's not showing me because my camera is being used by Zoom. But then what's also interesting is once you're in here, there's actually, you can chat and you can share screen with the candidates. You can go to your Google Drive and share documents and any other types of resources that you want. So it's got a lot of capability, much like Zoom, maybe even a little bit more. One of the things that, so if I was meeting with a candidate right here, they would actually be next to me over here in the video, integrated video. Over here, you see it says 1 out of 4. Not to add confusion, but you actually could have 4 people in one meeting room at a time. So it could be a candidate and 2 or 3 people from your company. And so if that's something you're interested in doing, you can add people by just sending them the link to the video, and I'll show you where that is, but to the video of the room that you're in. So the main recruiter still has to be responsible for their room, but they could share the link with coworkers if for some reason you found a reason that you wanted more than one of you in a room with one candidate. The one thing I want to say about this technology is make sure you test it wherever you are, and you'll be able to test it as soon as we send you the email. So that's going to be coming up here very soon. We're just collecting that information now. And make sure you test the technology. If you work in an organization that maybe has some kind of network security issue that is not going to allow this third-party platform to work, then we need to know that as soon as possible, because we can change the platform that you use and change the instructions for the student. But we would want to do that obviously before the event and not have technical issues the day of the event. However, if you do have technical issues the day of the event, if I was getting ready to meet with a candidate here, it would actually be giving me the candidate's information and their profile, their resume, and their phone number. So, you know, in a 10-minute meeting time, you don't have time to deal with a lot of technical issues. And so we're telling employers and the students that the absolute default, if the power goes out, the internet goes out, your camera stops working, whatever is happening, you can always use your phone and call the candidate. And so we're letting the students know to make sure that they're by the phone. And they may be using their phone to do these interviews anyway, but to make sure that they put an accurate phone number, because that's at least always the default. And so because we don't want you to lose out any interactions with students. Let me make sure. I feel like there was one more. Oh, the other cool thing about this too is, let's say I'm in here having a, let me show you what the email is going to look like. This will be the email that you'll get. So it'll say, you know, hi to you. We've created a schedule for you for the Paper Science Engineering Career Fair. This is the video room link. So this is the room. This is how you would test it even before the event. And also this is the link you would want to share with coworkers if for some reason you wanted them in your room, because you're only going to be responsible for your room. And then you would click right here, and then that would bring you to that screen we were just working in. And you would be able to go to your fairs. You may even be going to more than one fair at NC State. All the fairs that you are invited to will actually show up there. So you might be going, say, to the Engineering Career Fair and the paper science engineering career fair. So all your fairs will show up there. Also here, it'll have your schedule, and it'll also have your whole team's schedule. So, you know, if you're international paper, let's say, you've got your individual schedule, but you can also see all 8 or however many recruiters that you're bringing. You can see anybody that is with your company and their schedule as well. So that's kind of a nice feature. So if you were in the video room, let me just show you one more thing. You're still seeing my screen, right? Yell at me if anything's changing. Everybody's good?
We see it.
Okay. If you were actually in your video room and you're just having the greatest conversation with the candidate that you're meeting with, and your 10 minutes is up and there's the next candidate is ready for you, over here in the corner, it's kind of hard to test it, but over here in the corner, you'll actually get a little pop-up that says, Joe Smith is ready. They call it a little knock. So it'll give you a sound and an indication that the next candidate is waiting for you. And it'll give you the option of accepting them, which will hang up on the candidate that you're in at the moment, or putting them on hold. So if you're just trying to wrap up your conversation with the candidate that you're working with in that moment, or that you're talking to, it's very nice in the way that it just, but it does give you that warning, and it doesn't just cut off in 10 minutes until you cut it off. So you can keep yourself on schedule and going with that. Some other cool features is like what's nice about it, which is different than a typical career fair, so I'll stop my share right now. And then a typical career fair is you're actually going to know who you're going to meet with before the event actually happens. And so you'll be able to look at their resume, their major, if you want to do that kind of prep work ahead of time. So it's not like a walk-up career fair where the person's walking up to you cold and this is the first interaction you're having with them. So the students in their profile are going to have to upload their resume and give you their major and the year in school and all of that stuff. But what's cool too is at the end of the event, you can just download a spreadsheet. And you'll have all of that information from the day as well. So you can follow up or have all of, a copy of everybody's resume. You'll have a list of all the students that you met with. And there's even, you'll see it when you're in there meeting with a student. If for some reason, and we've already had one of these fairs, a student for whatever reason didn't show up to the appointment, you can actually do a little toggle switch and it'll indicate no show. And then that's great because we will get a list of all the no-shows. We hope that doesn't happen often, but if it does, and then that way we can follow up with the students and find out, what happened. But this is kind of a shift for our students too, because we're telling them like, now no shows, it's not like you just didn't get up and go to the event. This employer was expecting to meet with you for that 10-minute slot and you didn't show up, and they know who you are and we know who you are. So, they can cancel their appointments and give you a reason all the way up to their appointment time. But if they just don't cancel and are a no-show in that moment, we will have a list of that. So it's a little bit of a shift for us as employers and schools, and then for students. That is a great question, Jordan. Do you want me to answer questions as they come in?
Yeah, sure. If you want to send them to me privately too, I mean, that's a great question for the whole group, but if you have some other questions, feel free to shoot it to me privately. And if it's good for the whole group, then I can share it with Kelly. But yeah, Kelly, go ahead and answer that.
So that's a great question. That is actually under development because of feedback that we and other universities have given Career Fair Plus. And that is that they would like it to have a feature where one person from the company can actually modify all the schedules. So right now that's not the way it works, but but that is coming, and it could be, I mean, I swear every day I log into this platform, they've changed something. They're modifying it, and which I love. That's why we went with this company, because we have a long working history with them for other types of technology, and we just know they're very responsive. And so that is actually coming where one person from the company can actually do all the schedule setup instead of us having to do the schedule setup for every recruiter and then the recruiter having to go in and set up their schedule. So now I think, and we could talk about that. I think there is actually a way we can set up multiple schedules that are just assigned to one person, and maybe that would be like the workaround where if you wanted to modify the schedule yourself as one contact person in the company, and then you would just let people know. You would have to give them that video link, so the students wouldn't actually know who they were going to meet with. So that might be a workaround on that, and we could try that. But right now, it's really like one schedule per recruiter. I hope that answered that. And Brittany, I'm not sure, but when do you think, like, we can start building these schedules as soon as we start getting the information. So I'm not sure what your timeline is on that. I know we kind of discussed when we wanted to have it open to students.
Yeah, so I started that spreadsheet that we were talking about the other day, and I have all of the emails for the representative who signed up for the career fair. Mm-hmm. I'm sending out an email today where I am going to collect emails for the other representatives that would like a schedule. So yeah, I think you did a good job with explaining, you know, the difference in if everybody has a schedule, we need an email, and then if like you just want one room but you want 2 recruiters, we just need that one email. So if you could just like reiterate that, that would be awesome. Cool.
I see another really good question about the 10-minute, and this is something that we probably should have decided before we just threw it out to everybody, but the truth is that companies can actually modify the amount. So the default that you'll get on your schedule, like I showed you, is 10 minutes. But you can actually, you can change the amount of time and that your appointments are, that your meetings are. So it can be 5 minutes, it can be 1 minute, it could be 30 minutes. So each company can modify their schedule and do the appointment times as long or as short as they want. And here's the thing though, you have to do that before any students make appointments. But once students start making appointments with you, that is the one thing you cannot change, is the length of the appointment time. And you would do it the same way in the sample I showed you. Because a student had made an appointment with me, I couldn't make that modification. But let's see if I can pull that back up again. When you go to manage schedule and you go edit time slots, that's how you would do it. But because a student made an appointment with me already, it's not going to let me make that change. But if a student hadn't already made an appointment with me, up here in this corner, it's going to give you the option to change the amount of time. Make sure you save it though, because the default is always 10 minutes. So if you don't save it, it'll go back to 10 minutes. By default also, it always blocks the first appointment on the hour. So if that's just a default setting that this program has. So if you don't need breaks, or that's not when you would want a break, you know, feel free to open those slots up to students and modify it. You know, this is your schedule as an individual to modify any way that you want. So yes, you could change that. Here's the thing I would say about that though, is keep in mind that if all companies have different time slots, then it's, you know, the student schedule will get a little bit wonky. If one company's 20 minutes and another's 10 and another's 5, I think it will be okay, especially as small as this event is, and as long as it is, students will still be able to fit in everything that they want to. But if you were like in one of the bigger career fairs, like the engineering career fair, they want everybody to stick to 10 minutes. That way schedules aren't all over the place, because it's not going to allow a student to make more than one appointment during an appointment slot, if that makes sense.
There was a question about whether you can choose a virtual background.
I don't think so. It's not like Zoom in that way. So you'll want to test out the video technology and, you know, and where you want it to look.
And then I was wondering, once a student signs up for a number of different appointments, do they get can they go get a summary so that they can keep it straight? Do they get a summary sheet?
Sure. So on the student side, it actually is run by an app on their phone, Career Fair Plus app. And so when they're logged in, they will see all of their meeting appointments. They will be able to do all of their research. They can even keep notes on the companies that they meet with and everything on the student side. So they'll know what their schedule is, and they'll have a link, just like what you saw on the employer side. They have a similar platform, and they just click right on a link and go right into the meeting with you when the time is their time.
Does that app schedule or sync with their Google Calendar? Will it give them pop-up warnings and things like that?
Oh, great question. You know, I don't know about the Google Calendar. I will check on that, but to your point, on the other side of it, there's all kinds of resources in the app that for students so for example, we can, from the administrative side, we can push out notifications. And so like already in yours, I have a notification that tells students that they will be able to start making appointments on at 5 o'clock on August 21st. That's what we decided. So we're going to give you all the way to 5 o'clock on August 21st to modify anything that you want in the schedules. And we can still add schedules after that date. It's just that's when we're going to open it up to students and start allowing them to make appointments. And so we can push out notifications in the app. We can make announcements in the app. We can put all kinds of resources in the app for students. So it's very powerful in that way. And we've used this app before when we had live career fairs. Now it's pivoting to the virtual platform. Great question.
I have a question, since we're doing it out loud instead of through the Zoom chat. Other career fairs have allowed the opportunity, and I don't know this platform, to have an employer do a meeting where multiple students can join to learn more about the company. So say you have a presentation about your company, your location, about the internship, and you want to answer those questions, which would be separate from maybe doing a 10-minute interview if the student didn't know about your company and wanted to learn more. Is that available during this platform and this time?
So that's up to the paper science folks. And if you want to do that in addition during the fair, I can answer the other part of it, but that's up to y'all if you want to allow that.
So what you're talking about is similar to our pre-nights that we have the night before the presentation, the night before the interviews. I can shoot you an email and we can talk a little bit more about that later, but that we don't have anything specific for that, like before the career fair. But I'm happy to talk to you about the pre-nights before the interviews.
Okay, great. We would like to sign up for the pre-night, and it wasn't part of the registration, so that would be great if you could reach out.
Yep, absolutely. I will reach out.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Kelly, one thing I do want to touch on, we've had multiple questions about the schedule closing and like before, and we kind of want to talk about the pros and cons of that so we can decide maybe as a group if we want it to be open to where the students can come in last minute, what like the pros and cons of that are versus having like a hard close. And I'm curious to hear what everybody thinks about that.
Yes. Oh, so you want, okay. So, and I'll stop sharing. I was going to show you what it looks like a little bit on the student side too, just for, so you can get sense, but so we can close, so we have the power to close the event to students continuing to make appointments whenever we want, or we don't have to close it. So we've been getting feedback from some other schools that have used it on, you know, which way to go. And there are pros and cons to both sides. So the pros about say we close, meaning that we don't allow students to make appointments anymore at a certain point. Say we close that an hour before the event. So at 2 o'clock on September 1st, we stop allowing students to make appointments. What's nice about that for you guys as recruiters and companies is your schedule is set. So if there's still any open times on your schedule, you know that you're not going to have somebody on your schedule during that time, and you can do something else, or catch up or whatever. Your schedule is set. The bad side is if we do have any last minute students who, for whatever reason, and this actually happened at a fair we had a couple weeks ago, not very many students, but some students didn't get the memo that you had to sign up for your appointments ahead of time. And at 2 o'clock on the day of the event, they logged into their app and they were like, oh, how do I meet with employers? And we had already closed the appointment times. So there was no opportunity. And what we did, which we're going to do here too, is we actually had a Zoom room with a person from the university in it. And it was, that information was in the app, and the students popped over there and said, hey, what happened? And then we were like, did you read all of the emails and the push notifications and everything that we sent out? And they were like, no, actually we didn't. We thought they were just reminders about the event. And so at least we know those students won't make that mistake again. But the problem is that if we leave it open through the event, which is would catch those students, and we could say, hey, you still have the opportunity, is as recruiters, you will need to keep checking your schedule. So we have heard from other schools that when they kept it open, recruiters, took a break and a student ended up taking that schedule slot and then nobody met with them. And so that's kind of the bad side about keeping it open throughout the event. So that's for you guys to decide. We have the power to do it whichever way we want to and whatever you think works best.
This is Clark. I had a quick thought about that. So I guess I was kind of thinking, if we had one person who kept their schedule totally open, and then if a student wanted to do more follow-up after they talked to one recruiter and wanted to get more information or talk a little bit additional, that we could have one person who's kind of just a floater, and they could then schedule a follow-up with another person.
Yep. You could do something like that. Yep. But the thing is, the decision we make is for everybody. So if we keep it open, it's open for everybody. If we close it, it's closed for everybody. And it would add to the confusion. I'm just throwing, but one of the things, and kind of going with that same thought and the other thought about like sort of general information sessions, that is actually possible in this platform to have open rooms that employers, and we could even use Zoom to do that instead of this platform, because then, if it's a technical issue or something else, we can have that. The problem is or it's not a problem, but we would just want to be strategic in the way we get that word out to students. But it is. So
maybe our company could have a Zoom session going on at the same time, where anybody who didn't have a scheduled interviewee or candidate could jump into the Zoom room and just kind of, be a catch-all basin.
Yes. But we could absolutely do that. And we would, again, it's just how we would communicate that to the students. And Brittany's going to have a Zoom room. She's already set it up, which would be a place for students to pop in if for whatever reason they have a question and they want to talk to somebody from the university. Maybe they have a great interaction with an employer and they want to debrief about it, or something happened and they're just not sure, or whatever. They'll have a place where they can get support from the university too. So yeah.
And you all as recruiters will have access to that Zoom room too. So kind of like a break room. If we were doing this in person, if you have a break or you want to come chat with any of us, we'll have a room open too. So if you've got questions for us, feel free to pop in.
So is it possible to be in more than one Zoom room at a time?
You can. No, well, I mean, your camera won't work in more than one at a time. You could theoretically be chatting with someone and be in a Zoom room, but you can't, your camera will only work in one room at a time.
But you could open 2 Zoom sessions, I guess is the term. How does that work?
You're doing, now, say that again, 2 Zoom sessions.
So if Brittany has a Zoom session and, you know, we wanted to jump into hers and then come out, and then we had one that we had going at the same time. I haven't done a lot of Zoom, but can you go back and forth?
Yes, you can go back. I see what you're saying now. You just can't be in them at the same time. But you could be in Brittany's and then go back to yours. They're just links that you would click on and go in and out of. So her link is going to just be live through the whole event. So anytime you wanted to go pop in with her, you would just click the Zoom link that's hers because she owns that link. And then you would leave that one to go to another one if it was one that you wanted to be in. And you can open more than one page on your computer and pop in between them. But your camera will only work in one at a time. And that's the Career Fair Plus as well. Your camera can only work in one room at a time. And Brittany, you can, I know lots of people have been asking questions. I just wanted to show you, just real quick, this is just pictures of the, can you see this with the green? Does it show you? Does it show you my screen again? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is what it looks like for the student. So this is their student profile in the app. And so they put in their LinkedIn information, their graduation date. There's some things that we'll ask them for. And then what's kind of cool about it too is if they want to use their phone for the video feature, but they need to upload their resume, they can actually send themselves a link and it'll email them a link, and then that way they can just upload their resume from there. So there's just something on the student side. And then this is the navigation for a student from the bottom. So I think somebody had asked about the virtual appointments. If I was to click here, this is just a picture, but if I was to click here, this would give me a list of all of my appointments for the event. So that's where you would know your whole schedule. I was showing this to some student services people, is we can secure these events. You know, obviously they're online, so the security is an issue. And so we are going to secure this event by the ncsu.edu domain. So there shouldn't be anybody coming in to make appointments with you that doesn't have an ncsu.edu email address. So that's just a security feature of this platform. And then this is what it looks like on the front page for them. So the fair, and they would be able to, again, look up all the employers, look at all the virtual appointments, and then there's more features like announcements and things like that. This is just a feature of what it looks like. This was an event we actually had for on-campus jobs. And so it's going to have your company logo. It's going to have the name of your schedule. So in this case, it was the type of position that they were hiring for. And then if I clicked here, it would actually give me a schedule like this over here. So if I clicked this and I came over here, this is the schedule details. So this is that, remember I was saying you guys can change the title of your schedule, sorry, and then it will tell me how many spots are left, the duration of the spot. So if you changed it to 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, that would be here. And then your description, you would want to be as clear as possible, and you can add as much stuff here as you want to about your company, about the position, about the type of, like if you guys decide as a group, like, okay, you talk to interns, I'm going to talk to full-time hires, I'm going to just talk to general. You can organize that any way you want, or you can all just talk to any kind of student that you want. But you want to make sure you're descriptive here, because students are going to be reading that and making decisions like, is this a company and a recruiter that wants to talk to me and I should make an appointment with or not? And then it's going to have your name and your title. And then down here, it's going to give the students all the choices for the appointments that they can make. And then, like I said, over here, this is what it would look like if I had a schedule. All my appointments would be here. This is a screenshot of what the announcements look like. And so this is there for the students, so we can make all kinds of announcements, and we can turn them into push notifications. So like when the window does open for students to make appointments, we'll push it out. So it'll send them a push on their phone that says, hey, don't forget, Paper Science Engineering Fair is now ready, and you can make appointments. And then it's also Twitter enabled for those of you that like social media. So if we have a hashtag or a Twitter handle that we want to connect to it, anytime there's a post on that handle or hashtag, it'll actually pop up here. So that just is fun for social media. So that's just so you kind of got a glimpse of the student side of it. So what questions, Brittany, are there? I see a lot of them.
Kelly, I can't remember. Did you go over if Career Fair Plus does virtual backgrounds?
No, I don't think that they do.
Okay.
If that's something that they add, which could be something, and like I said, every day I swear they send me a new update on something new they've added based on the feedback, because you know this is being used across the country. I will certainly let you know, but I'm not aware of them having virtual backgrounds right now.
Okay, thank you.
And you don't have to use video. When you go to click the link to meet with the students, you can turn, just like with Zoom, you can turn the video off. You can just do voice, you can do chat, and you can do phone. But you know, the integrated video is really makes the candidate and the employer experience, you know, more like a in-person career fair. I know some of you have asked about interviewing. You know, we want this to be like a career fair. So these are you know, initial contacts with students. These are not interviews. But when you find a candidate that you really like, you know, discuss as a team what will be your next step. And some of you have already said, you know, some of your thoughts on that. And so we want it to be very much like the in-person events where you meet a great candidate at the fair, and you know that the next day or something, that there's a follow-up as far as interviews. So whatever your process was before on that, we want to stick to that, obviously just virtual.
I might add that I want everybody to keep in mind that we're in a growth mode. We require all PSE students to attend, and there are currently 221 on the roster. And so if you throw in 70 double E's and 70 EEs, MEs, like you folks have enjoyed in the past, that makes for a pretty heady client list. So we would strongly encourage you to think about a 10-minute slot as opposed to a 30-minute slot, so that you can get in front of as many students as possible, because for some of them, this is the first time they're going to get to meet you. And so we're doing that familiarization. So just keep in mind that there will be a lot. So just picture in your mind the online equivalent of that line of students, and you not even getting a chance to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, and the reason, that's a great point, and also why we went with this platform, because there are some platforms, if you're recruiting at other universities, it might be different, and they're using a different kind of platform where students actually do stand in a virtual line. And we thought about that, but you know, this way the students really get to know what their schedule is, get to maximize their time and meet with a maximum number of employers, because if they're standing in a virtual line, they can only stand in 3 to 5 virtual lines at the same time. And it could be 20 minutes that they're just waiting. And then all 3 of you may be ready at the same time, and they've got to choose which employer to talk to. And so while this is a paradigm shift to, you know, for both employers and students to know ahead of time what the schedule is, we do really think it's going to be the best maximization of the interactions and the scheduling for both students and employers. I can't tell you how many times, and in this fair not so much because it's in the evening, but you know, we're at a daytime fair and a student's standing in a line, you know, for an hour. waiting to talk for 3 minutes to an employer, and they're like, I have to leave, I have a test, or I have to leave, I'm supposed to go to a class, and it's just very stressful. This way, everybody's going to know up front what their schedule is. The key for us is going to be making sure these students make all those appointments, which we will, and they will. But it's just a little bit change in messaging for us.
I'm going through, Kelly, and see if I'm missing any questions.
Okay.
Hey, Kelly, just a quick question for clarification. This is Trish Tell from Westrock. So each employer will get one schedule, right? There isn't a chance that you could have 2 recruiters with 2 different schedules to maximize, I guess, the amount of students you can talk to?
Each employer can have as many schedules as they want.
Okay.
So you can have 10 recruiters if you want.
Okay.
There's no limit.
I'm going to be sending out a schedule to, or not a schedule, but a form today to all of the people who signed up for the career fair, asking for all of the emails of the recruiters that want their own individual schedule. So yeah, you can have as many recruiters as you want. It's not like additional fees or anything like that. Like as many as you would like.
And, but that's a great question too. And one of the best practices, we're a little bit different at NC State, but thinking about what some of the other schools have experienced, you know, you might initially put out 2 to 3 recruiters because you're going to be able to watch your schedule. And if all of your schedules are full, then, you know, say, well, maybe we want to add somebody else. But since it's virtual, nobody has to travel, nobody's committing. So, you know, if you all put out your schedules and they're not completely full, if you have 10 people and they're not completely full, you know, you can do other things, you know, during the times that you don't have students. So, you know, kind of decide what's best for yourself. Do we start with 2 or 3, see how the schedule fills, and then add more? Or do we want to go ahead and just put it all out there, you know, for students to do? So that's up to you.
Got it.
Thanks. One of the things too that we found with students from a fair that we had before is it was like when we first rolled it out and they were ready, you know, they were signing up, but they were trickling. But man, like 2 days before the event, it was crazy. They just took all the appointments that were left. So we'll be watching that too, like, you know, how quickly the students are signing up. And it'll change drastically as we get closer to the event. Like it might seem like, wow, they're really not signing up super fast. And then 2-3 days before the event, all those appointments will be taken. That's what happened with our fair that we had a couple weeks ago. Over the weekend, especially, they were just signing up like gangbusters.
And before the question comes up, Brittany, I guess it's fair for us to say to all of our partners that we are still finalizing our decision about what platform we want to use, if there's going to be a uniform platform for the on-campus, the online interviews that you would normally do on campus. Is that fair to say, Brittany?
Yes, so we are still in the process of figuring out the logistics of all of that, and we'll be contacting you shortly.
Just reiterating on that too. Again, test this out once you get the email, and if for some reason there is a security issue, we can pivot to WebEx, we can pivot to Zoom, we can pivot to something that your company authorizes, like, you know, to use, and we can use it in the Career Fair Plus platform. We just need to know so we can inform the students what link to click on when they're having their interview with you. You know, having the standard Career Fair Plus web-based, and it's got no, you know, it's got no data issues, or it's as big as the internet. We wanted to have that so that it was an option for every employer to use. But if for some reason, you know, you work at a facility or just that has a security issue and doesn't allow any kind of third-party platforms like this, we can absolutely make that change. Actually, you can make the change yourself in the schedule, but we would want to make sure we know about it too, and we would just so we can inform the students what to expect.
And Kelly, what you mentioned was for the interviews, right? Not necessarily for the career fair.
I'm sorry, for Career Fair Plus. I'm sorry, for the actual event. For interviews, same thing goes, but it sounds like that the PSE department is looking for the possibility of something, a platform to use, right? Good.
Yeah, any questions you have about specifically interviews, you could just shoot me an email about that. Like I said, we're still trying to figure out the logistics of like the platforms and everything. But yeah, any questions you have about that, feel free to shoot them to me. Looking through to see if we're missing any specific questions that I haven't responded privately to.
One of the signing up to multiple different schedules, you can't stop that. They can't sign up for more than one appointment at the same time, but they could theoretically sign up for more than one appointment with the same company, just with a different recruiter. But you would see that because you all can see each other's schedules. And so, let us know if you're seeing things that, behavior from students that we should address. We're happy to do that.
And yeah, we'll be able to see the schedules as well. So maybe between the recruiters and us, we'll catch something like that. But yeah, I guess it could happen.
Now, I will say, when we were talking about that one person wanted to do the schedules for everybody, if we can help you with that. So if that's an issue and you don't, I did all the schedules for our dining managers for their event. So we can do that on our side, even if they haven't added that feature. They are working on it from the company side, but Brittany and I can fix, make sure that happens for you. So that's something you can reach out to us individually. We can modify any schedule, and we can, put any information in any schedule we need to. So if you're one of those companies that you just know, and you're the HR person or whatever, that the people that are actually coming don't need to do anything until the day of the event, we can help you with that and make sure that you just let them know, don't even look at it until the day of the event or whatever. We can help you with that individually. Your fair is a little bit early, so that like I said, some of these features, I log into this platform every day and they've made a change. It's like Christmas every day. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's a new feature. But like I said, we've already had one very successful career fair with it. And the folks that used it are not people that sit in front of computers all day. And they said the interactions with students were amazing. So we were really, really thrilled to get that feedback.
And in addition to this video that we'll be sending out, there's a couple of really good resources that Kelly, you showed me, different links about Career Fair Plus that I can send out as well with this link. So I think it's a pretty cool platform too. I'm excited to use it.
Yeah, they have a lot of YouTube and Loom videos that just give you, that help you. But really, it's so intuitive. They do a really good job of developing, this is their expertise, but of developing things that are just very user-friendly.
We want to assure all of our partners that our job as a team is to eliminate as many barriers as possible and to reduce your anxiety level as much as possible. Can't do it all, but we are committed to doing as much as we can so to give you a high quality experience here this fall. and we have students chomping at the bit, chomping at the bit. And I will tell you that the quality is, you know, I say that all the time, right? I'm like your grandmother. You're my favorite.
Awesome. Kelly, can you think of anything else? I mean, those are the big things I really wanted to discuss. Is there anything else specific that you all want to talk about? Or like I said, shoot us an email too. We're happy to answer any questions privately, and can send out a big email to the group with some FAQs. Well, thank you so much, Kelly. This is so helpful. I really, really appreciate it.
Yes, no problem at all. And like Brittany said and Dr. Bird said, we are here and we will make sure this goes as smooth as possible. It's our job to get these students in front of you, and they will be there. They're the best and the brightest. And you know, we just want to make this as easy on you as possible so that we don't even miss a beat with everything that's going on.
All right. Well,
maybe we can have it delivered out or something, the barbecue.
awesome. Well, thanks so much, everyone. And yeah, be looking for an email. We'll have all of this recorded, and yeah, we'll just keep talking until the big day. Awesome. Well, have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.